Walter.
Life with Mary Walter.
Hey, welcome to Life with Mary Walter. I am Mary Walter, and that's my work husband, James Rabick, who has not been able to join us last couple of shows because he's training for a new job. And here he is because he gets out of work so late. He's such a good employee in his car in the parking lot of work. You're so good. How's the new job? How's the new job going?
It's going really well, actually. It's simple, but it's rewarding in its own weird way. Shockingly,
Okay, that's good.
or
That's
cathartic,
good.
if nothing else. Yeah.
That's great. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do. We would really, really appreciate that. Please tell your friends. Please like the podcasts. Go back and watch old episodes of the podcast. Some of them are evergreen. The Life with Mary Walter ones don't expire. They're evergreen topics because it's not political. So please go back and do that. You could do that if you are watching on Getter. They're there on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search for Mary Walter Radio. They will all come up. Joining us later in tonight's show, Christine Flowers is in to join us to talk about the Real Housewives of New Jersey, the wrap up from last week's episode, actually last Tuesdays. And so it's on again tonight. It's on Tuesdays, so we're on a weird schedule. Used to be on the weekends. Now it's on Tuesdays. So we won't talk about tonight's until next week. Programming note, when I'm done here, 9 p.m. Eastern to midnight, I will be in for Stacey Washington on Sirius Patriot Channel 125. And then tomorrow from noon to 3, I am in for Todd Starnes on the Todd Starnes Radio Network, available mostly on stations in the South. But if you go to KWAM, KWAM, that is their home station. You can listen to it there online. Or if you have the TuneIn app or download the TuneIn app and search for KWAM, and you can listen there. So that's tomorrow, noon to 3. A little busy. Not as busy as James, though. Not as busy as you.
Hey, those are great call letters, though. KWAM.
KWAM, is
Those
that great?
those are fantastic call letters for a radio station. That was like luck, they're like goal. Like, we ran into great call letters. We can do anything with this.
I used to do hits on a station out of I want to say they were out of Grand Rapids, Wood Radio, WOOD, and they had a motto: "Wake up with morning wood." That was their morning show.
Like, you could not. It wrote itself, right? I mean, you knew it was coming. You're like, yeah.
It was fantastic. So yeah. So that's that. So tonight, as you know, I promoted everywhere. Our guest is Sean Spicer. And Sean and I had to, unfortunately, pre-tape this interview just because he had his schedule. His schedule is crazy. Yeah, so we had to pre-tape it, which is fine. So we did. We pre-taped it today. It runs about half an hour, but I got to ask him a bunch of different questions. Now, I started calling it because I had to come up with a name for the segment. So I called it Pundits. Pundits are people too. Our pundits are people too. So I don't know if I'm going to stick with it. I also liked punditry, but I don't know if people will understand what it's about then.
Right. They might think, right. It's now a political thing, right? Rather than try to get these pundits to talk about anything but politics.
Right. So, what we're going to do is we're going to play it. James is going to drive home, and then we're going to come back and discuss. But you can leave your comments, and just very quickly, let's see who got in first, since I know they're waiting. Let's see. Oh, congratulations, Al. Al in at 6:53. This is getting ridiculous. Bill in at 6:57. Let's see. Ron says pundits are people too. Yes. I was gonna put pundits are people too. ... Damn it.
I like that.
Yeah. Hi, Sean. Hi to Sean. Oh, hi, Scott. Al says fondant is political in nature. Okay. So what was the other one? Oh, and what was it? The pundit class was the other one.
Oh, I like that. That's neat.
So, but I don't know if people will get that it's a joke. I just don't know if pundits are people too is just way too basic.
Right.
So I got to get a name and stick with it, though.
Yeah, we got to come up with a name that both gets the idea that it's, they're doing something they don't want to be doing or they don't normally do, mixed with a reason to get people in doing that, to see it.
Right.
Like you said, pundit anything almost makes it sound like, were they doing a weird political segment? Like, what are they doing?
Right.
And some people will love that, either way, but I'm saying, some will go, next. We'll try something. But it does ring well, though.
It does. Yeah, it does. So we'll figure it out. You and I can decide what we want to call it. But if you guys have any suggestions, please feel free to throw them up here. So you can leave your comments as I play the interview with Sean, if you want to, and then we can go back and I can go back and read them as we go along. But I don't want to keep starting and stopping this and interrupting it, because people who are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it's gonna be way too confusing for them. So yeah. I'm just going to play this and then we're going to go. So James, I'm going to let you go. Drive carefully.
Thank you.
We will see you soon. And I am going to play this video. I will remove myself from the video so you don't see me twice. All right. So I'll see you. Goodbye. And I'm going to remove myself as well. And here is Sean Spicer. So as I've been telling you, I am so excited for our guest tonight, because this is going to be the start of a new installment, a new feature here on Life with Mary Walter, where we get to talk to people who you only know as political figures or people who only comment on political issues. But they're people too. And I think it would be fun to delve into their lives, behind just the opinions that you get to hear them give, because there's a lot more to a lot of these people than that. And so the guest that's going to kick this off is someone that I just really like, someone who has just been so nice to me, is such a sweet, nice guy. And I think it's just been so vilified in the press. It's just not fair. So Sean Spicer, thank you for joining me. It is great to have you. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
Yeah, and I can't believe you're just like, yeah, that sounds cool, I'll do it. So I'm super happy that you did that, because you gave me an idea to just like, really, this is something I really want to do. And so I'm going to expand this out, hopefully, from here. What is interesting that I found about you to start off is that you have written a children's book, and I want to put it up here. There it is. The Parrots Go Bananas. And I thought, wow, that is so cool, because, if you listen to the left, you are the devil incarnate. So why would the devil be writing a children's book? Why did you do this? Is this something you've always wanted to do?
Funny thing is, I actually did when I approached a publisher several years back, and they said, most people don't start with a children's book. It's really not on brand, if you will. And so I wrote 3 serious books, and then I was approached by bravebooks.com. That's actually what they do. Brave Books writes children's books that are Christian and patriotic in nature. And they had said, hey, we'd love to team up with you. They generally sit down and have a quick discussion with you, like what's in your wheelhouse. They wrote one with Dan Crenshaw. So he wrote one about bravery. Go figure. The guy's a real tough guy.
He is.
And I said, well, I know politics, I know the media, and we started kind of having this brainstorming session. And we talked about like fake news and what it's like as kids to be accused of it. I've got 2 12-year-old kids. And so we talked about not necessarily fake news and dealing with it in the media, but oftentimes kids are accused of something. And then everyone piles on and jumps on the bandwagon. And that's something that kids can relate to. So the characters in this book are accused of cheating in this game. You can see it on the cover there. And they get exonerated, but it's through a lot of, they go through a lot. I mean, you think of Nick Sandman, the young student who was from Covington Catholic High School, who was accused of a bunch of nefarious things at the base of the Lincoln Memorial. And it wasn't until the additional video came out that he was exonerated. So it's kind of, and I've had my own experiences where, you're falsely accused of stuff. And then once the circumstances change, but the apology never seems to right the ship, if you will. Once the damage has been done, it's out there. And so I wrote this with Brave Books, and they have a series. You can go to bravebooks.com, bravebooks.us, and you could actually get the book for $1 right now if you sign up and you subscribe to their series. But they've got a ton of great authors, and every month there's always something out there that you can feel good about giving your kids and letting them read. So my kids are older; they're 12. And so they read on their own. And I know that when they read one of the Brave books, that they're going to learn something that I don't have to have an explanation or, go explain it for them at the end. If they're younger, 4 to 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there, you can read it to them. There's exercises in the back. Jack Posobiec wrote one about communism and the dangers of it. So they're all fun. They're all great natured. Anyway, so it was a fun experience for me.
How much input did your kids have into this book?
They had a decent amount. I mean, we would sit down, go over different drafts, and they would tell me, like, they would, sometimes it was the illustrations, sometimes it was the words and the scenario, but they played a very critical role in helping me get this thing right.
Yeah, I love the idea of Brave Books. It's bravebooks.com. Go check it out because there are the books really do teach a lesson, but it's a lesson that you want your kids to learn. It seems like when we were growing up, everything was a lesson. Like I grew up on the Brady Bunch, and every week you learned a life lesson from the Brady Bunch. And I always tell my nieces, I'm like, every life lesson can be learned from the Brady Bunch. And I eventually got them the DVDs when they were kids, and they loved them. They just kept wanting to see more and more and more of them. And we've kind of gotten away from that. Why? So I like this.
The great thing about this book, though, is all it teaches you is to be a good person, to not jump to conclusions, to think the best of people, and to maybe have a little bit of forgiveness in your heart. I don't know why that would be controversial to anybody. And so that's the beauty of these things, is that it's to your point about the Brady Bunch. I remember it was always something about, Peter did this at the end, or Marcia or Alice taught them the lesson. And that's the same thing. We're missing that now. You've got a group of folks on the left who've realized that they can use the tools that they've been given from Hollywood and on YouTube and the internet to indoctrinate kids. So it's important to have another side to this. The thing is though, we're not using our tools to indoctrinate them. I think, like I said, we're just saying, learn, be a good person. That's a very, very different tactic.
Agree, but my fear is that there is such, I don't know if it's Trump derangement syndrome, not getting political, but I think they just look at it and go, oh, it's written by Sean Spicer. It must be political. It must be indoctrination. What I think they miss is that, you have the ability, a lot of people do. I have the ability, you have the ability to separate politics from my life. I don't live it. And I think there are a lot of people who live it, and they're going to miss out on some really great books and a lot of great lessons that they can teach their kids that I think, like you said, we want our kids to know. So how do you break through that? You didn't do it under a pseudonym.
No, I mean, look, you just have to be willing to go out there and engage. I think that's the key. Because you're right. I mean, some of these parents, some of these people, don't want to have that conversation, and you're not going to be able to win them all over. So that's just a reality. But I think part of it is, I've had people watch my show and say, I never thought that that's what I was going to get. And it's the same thing. You got to be willing to get out there and be in that public space. So I go places and do things that might not always be the easiest. I've spoken on a lot of college campuses. I go to different venues. And part of the reason I wrote the book is because, again, I think it's important that we engage with young people. I think the biggest issue is that if we cede the field, then the left is going to take it.
Yes. And I'm glad to see that there is this something that's been missing for conservatives a lot, and that is, the willingness to fight back. And I think the advent of your former boss, Mr. Trump, really taught a lot of people, how to do that and how to fight back. So the book is The Parrots Go Bananas. It's really cute. All the evil goes down in Mushroom Town, by the way.
That's right. Mushroom Village.
Mushroom Village. I'm sorry, Mushroom Village. I didn't know if there's like a double entendre there, with the advent of like legalizing of mushrooms in Oregon and that kind of thing. I wasn't sure.
You're the first one.
Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm the first for something. There we go. So, Did you ever, so you've always had this passion or this interest in writing a children's book, but if you look back, when you were younger, where did you think your life would be? What did you
Well,
think
just
your
just to be
career was going to
clear,
be?
since I've had kids, because I think that like,
Okay.
that's why I wanted to. My kids are 12 now. I thought a couple more years and you start getting into like creeper territory when they're like, my kids are 18. You're like, what are you writing a kid's book? So I figured if I didn't start now, it would be difficult.
Okay.
I think it's fun, when you have them, like you were asking before, it's fun to be able to engage them. And this is the first project I've written 3 other books. And, aside from the looking
Right.
at some of the pictures and having a discussion, it's not like they've been able to read them or care about one or even wanting to read them. This one, they were able to partake in it. And it was a fun family experience.
Is that something you see continuing? You talk about as they get older. Is that something that you maybe see as like something you could continue to do with them with older topics for older kids?
It's a good question. I think we'll have to see. I'm all for letting them figure out what path they want to take, and if they want to engage in certain projects, I'm all for it. We've been very protective of the kids and trying to keep them
Sure.
out of the spotlight. But as they grow older, if they want to engage more in certain things or projects that I'm involved in, I'm open to it. I think it's just a question of whether it's age appropriate or not.
Right, right. Absolutely. But I still think it's cool that it's a family thing
Yeah.
that you got to do. So looking back when you were their age, where did you think your career would be? What was, you said, when I look at my life, this is what I want to do. I want to go do this. Where did you think you would be? What would you be doing?
So like in grade school, I think, if I recall correctly, I think I wanted to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and I wasn't entirely sure what the difference was. Um, I don't know entirely why, but I remember that was it. And then I went to like a lawyer phase. Um, but it was always those were the main, there was a business phase, that lasted for a while, but those were the big ones.
Yeah. Now you had a naval career. You were in the Naval War College is where you went to school, and then you served what 20 years, right? You worked for the Navy for 20 years.
23.
23 years.
It's like running a marathon. I've done a few marathons and everyone goes, "Oh, it's like 20 miles." And I'm like 26.2. And that 0.2 is important because if you ever do the Marine Corps, that last 0.2 is going up to Iwo Jima, and it's like it's got an incline to it. I'm like, the 0.2 matters. Trust me.
It surely does. So you didn't mention like that was something that you were thinking of doing when you were younger.
I didn't
You
get
didn't
into the
mention
military
doing
until I
something
was
like that.
20. Well, so I actually tried several times when I was in my early 20s. And they didn't have none of so the programs that they have now, they didn't have, in terms of, there were a lot of programs that the programs that they have now allow for advanced pay grade and a session where you could come in with a college degree, and they had all of these training requirements that you had to go off for, I think it was 16 weeks and such. And for a variety of reasons, it never fit. And so it never worked out for me. Initially, actually, I really wanted to join the Coast Guard. I grew up in Rhode Island, and we grew up on the water. So the Coast Guard was something near and dear to my heart. I have a family history in the Navy, which is what drew me that. But
Yeah.
when you deal with the Coast Guard a lot more, when you see them, there's something very special about the role that they play in the country and keeping our waterways safe. So anyway, I started my professional career in politics, and then after a while, I became aware of, again, they started coming up with a lot more programs, and there was a program that was available for folks that allowed professionals into the Navy in a way that they hadn't before. And so a friend of mine told me about it. I applied and got in when I was 29 years old.
That's great. That's fantastic. It was something you wanted to do, and it's nice to hear that you pursued it and just didn't say, "Oh, you know what? I'm 29. I got to start my career. I got to get going in this direction," and then you let it go. And 2 fun facts: my husband works with the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He flies for the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's a pilot. And honestly, if he were younger, when 9/11 happened, he would have enlisted. He would have gone in because he's a flight surgeon for them. So because he's a physician as well. So he understands the whole Coast Guard thing, and he
Very
does
cool.
and the uniform's totally hot, right? And I wanted to go into I was a psychology major for one whole semester at Villanova until I found out that you had to like dissect rat, like you had to put like electrodes on rats' brains and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm out. So that was my short-lived psychology career. I wanted that as well. I liked that, but that was the end of that.
Okay.
So do you have siblings?
I have one of each. Yep. I'm the oldest.
So there's three of you. I am as well. I'm the oldest. There's three of you. Were you one of your parents' favorite children? Because mom has a favorite and dad has a favorite. Were you one of the favorites? And you know if you were or not?
I don't know. I gotta think so. But look, I think my parents are very fair. We're all very different. But I don't know. I gotta be careful.
All right, you're being politically correct. That's fine. But your siblings know too. You guys all know. We all know who's the favorites. In high school, were you popular?
So I went to a very small school. I don't know. I wouldn't say I was the popular kid by any means. I had a good amount of friends, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. I definitely wasn't like the popular kid, but I had a good group of friends.
So you were, especially when you're in a smaller school, everybody knows the pecking order, right? We are all well aware of where we stand on that social ladder. So you definitely were closer to the top because you are incredibly charming.
Well, thank you. I was somewhere. I was probably middle plus.
Okay. All right. You're like upper middle class on the ladder. Now, I know you went to the prom because when we talked about you doing this, I said, well, I'm going to ask you things like, did you go to the prom? And you immediately turned around and told me your prom date's name, which I thought was pretty impressive. Are you still in touch with her?
So, I went to so I went to an all boys school.
Okay.
So we had a prom, and then we had several girls' schools that we were kind of friendly with. So I went to a couple. I went to mine, and then I went to a couple of theirs, junior and senior year. And every time it was someone different every time. But no, I don't think I'm in touch with any one of them directly. So one of them is cousins with a friend of mine who I stay in touch with. So indirectly, yes. But but no, there's not one that I'm actually like in any way, shape, or like I'm not in Facebook friends with any of them actually.
Okay. And that is the denominator. Are you Facebook friends or not? Because
Right.
when someone dumps you on Facebook, that's like the end. Like that's the ultimate. So wait, so you went to how many proms between junior and senior year?
I would say I think I probably went to 4, right? So there was mine. So I went to my junior, my senior, and then I think I went to like at least one other each year.
Wow. And pretty impressive considering I did not go to my prom. So, because I wasn't popular. I was a dork. I'm the kid who voluntarily took Latin senior year and got straight A's in it because I had too many study halls.
So I was the person that sat next to you when it was required my sophomore year and was like, so what did Caesar do?
Yeah. So my lab part, it's so funny. I'm in touch with everybody from high school. We're pretty much all in touch. My class had almost 500 people, but we've been in school since 2nd grade together. So everybody knows everybody, and you went in and out of friendships. So my lab partner senior year for physics class, and it was just an easy physics class I was just taking, and I needed another science. And so my lab partner senior, I just found out, we were at another classmate's funeral, that he was a baseball player. He was basketball player, nice guy, always stoned, always high, right? And I didn't realize that he was also high during school. And I'm like, is that why you continually messed up our experiments? He's like, you didn't know? He goes, I picked you as my lab partner because I figured you'd do everything. I'm like, really?
Smart move.
So you're not the only one who had the idea to sit next to me. I want to know, when you're home alone and there's no one around, what will you eat when no one else is around? Is there something you don't want anyone else to catch you eating?
No, I mean,
Really?
no, I don't.
There's like no Malamar every now and then. Maybe some like kids cereal or something. A little Count
Oh
Chocula.
no, I mean, there's a difference between that. I mean, like like, is there like a couple things here and there that like, yeah. I mean, I've had a bowl of cereal probably every couple months or something that, if it was like some kind of treat for my kids, like normally they have Cheerios, I think, over there in the pantry. I hate Cheerios. So I don't ever do, but like my daughter's in the Girl Scouts. She has Girl Scout. I know that's something that you always, but like, so every once in a while I might grab one of those or something like that, but it's not like I'm like secretly, it's nothing that if my wife walked downstairs, I'd be like, stuffing under the counter.
No, but I will tell you every now and then, because we love Girl Scout cookies. I was involved with the Girl Scouts till I was 18 because I'm a dork. And then I also got involved with Girl Scout fundraising on the council level later on. So there's always Girl Scout cookies in our house, in the freezer, because they freeze fantastically. And if they're in the freezer, you forget about them. So that's great. But like every now and then, I will buy a box of Frosted Flakes, or I'll buy a box of Count Chocula every now and then. And I just put it in the back of the cabinet because if especially Count Chocula, my husband will be like, "Really? That's what you're eating? What happened to keto?" Like,
Oh, well, I do love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like
yes.
But it's not like, what'll happen is my kids will have been with my wife at the grocery store or with me or something, and they'll say, "Hey, can I get that?" And I'll say, "Sure." And then that's when I'll steal it from them. But I mean, it's only on those occasions. Like I won't buy it on my own.
Yeah. Okay. Well, every now and then I will. I don't have children to blame it on. You have the cover of blaming the kids. When they're out of the house, you're going to buy it on your own, guaranteed. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is fantastic. Okay. So since we are pre-taping this and we're not doing this live, which all the viewers are going to know because they can leave comments, right? So I asked people, what do you want me to ask Sean? Everyone wants to know about the yellow puffy shirt from Dancing with the Stars. It was like a lime green. And you, by the way, are the only season I ever watched of Dancing with the Stars because you were on it. You know why? Because they were so horrible to you. The media, the press, everyone. And you were such a good sport about it. I was like, man, that it was just such a display of dignity and class. And you looked like you were having such fun. And I just loved that. So everyone wants to know, do you have the shirt?
Yeah, well, so first, I did have a ton of fun. It was a great experience. I tell people all the time, I've told the crew and the executives on the show that, look, they've talked about, there's always rumors, put it that they haven't talked about. There's rumors of specials and things. And I've said, hey, if you ever do it, I don't care what it is, I'll come back. I had a blast. It's a great crew. They're a fun, professional group of people, and I enjoyed them. So here's the real interesting thing about this. We raffled the shirt off for 3 veterans organizations that I'm associated with.
Oh.
And we got $4,000 for it. And the shirt got lost in the mail. So here's the secret. So we ended up, it got blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'll save you the thing. And they made me a brand new one. The guy, the costume designer. So I have that here in the house.
Do you every now and then just put it on?
Yeah. Like yesterday,
dance around.
Home, I put it on, walked around for a little bit.
I'd love to see you out in the front yard cutting the lawn in that.
Yeah. The neighbors get a little wigged out, but I mean, sorry.
So if money were no object, where would you be right now? And what would you be doing instead of talking to me?
Somewhere warmer. I don't know.
Sailing?
I love the water. I mean, I love, not when I say the water, just so clear, I am an ocean guy. So I would love to be probably somewhere off of an island doing something on the water. you know,
Yeah.
running some kind of like marina with a bar.
Oh my, it's so funny. So many people have that dream. It's like when I hit the
It's
lottery,
like
I'm
Tom
gonna go
Cruise
to
and Cocktail.
yes,
But
yes.
I want to rent. I want to have boats. I think he just had the bar. I want
Well,
to
you
have.
have you have the shirt for the bar.
That might be a little bright.
Yeah, I
But
always say I want to just like rent beach chairs for $5 on
yeah,
some
the problem with
island
the beach
somewhere.
chairs, you got to pick up the beach chairs. You got to drop them off. You know,
Oh,
I don't know.
well, yeah, that's true. Or I could just hire someone to do it for me.
That's true. But I do. I will say this. There's a lot of people who say like, if I won the lottery, I still have to work. I'm like, yeah, bye-bye. Like, I would do things. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't sit around. I have a lot of projects I'd love to do. I
Yeah.
mean, and things that I'd love to investigate. And I'd probably write a lot more. I'd take some classes. I mean, I'd keep busy. That would not be a problem. But
Yeah.
if you think I'm working a 9-to-5 job, you're kidding yourself.
I'm with you. I laugh at these people like, I want to continue working. I'm like, okay.
I mean, I would show up at like town hall meetings and just eviscerate like local elected officials. I mean, you know what I mean? It would just be fun being like, so councilman, I've waited 4 hours. I mean, why not?
You have nothing to lose at that point. What are they going to do? Fire you?
Right. But that would be fun.
Right.
It'd just be like, let's go have, and just run, like call up. Like, I mean, I've run a couple presidential, done 6 years at the RNC, 2 presidential cycles. I'd love to find like some guys running for like, county something or other and be like, hey, I'll tell you what, let's come in. I'm going to raise you some real money and we're going to take this thing to the next level.
That's hilarious. You've clearly put some thought into this.
Yeah. Well, I'm the kind of I buy lottery tickets when, when they send this thing like the Powerball will hit $1 billion. I go and buy it. And then for like the walk back to my car, I spend it in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, because I want to, like, I'm going to open, I shouldn't tell you everything because I don't want to give it away. But I have a couple stores. I want to open some things. I'm going to do some charitable things too, just so you know. But then, I mean, like, I'm going to live well.
Yeah.
But I've already spent somewhere close to a few $100 million in my head.
I'm with you on that one. But what I do is I do the opposite. When it goes up to like billions, like over $1 billion or, 900 million and everybody's buying tickets, I buy the other lottery that's only at like 100 million because nobody's buying those tickets. So
The
I
odds
figure
are the
my
same, you know that, right?
chances, I'm sorry?
The odds are the same.
Could you not rain on my parade right now?
I'm just saying.
I think there are fewer people buying tickets so I can win. Now, I realize that just because there isn't always a guaranteed winner. So I realize that in my brain, that odd thing doesn't work.
Right.
But I figure I can live on $100 million. Granted, after taxes, it's like 50, but I can still live on that and still live out pretty much most of my dreams.
Okay. Fair enough.
Thank you. One last question. I know you have to go. I promised Katie I would keep this short to a certain time. What's the best advice someone ever gave you that it sticks in your brain? You're like, wow, that was great advice.
There's 2 pieces of advice. The first one, and I wrote about this in my first book, is when I first moved to DC, I went and I had like a sort of an informational interview. And this guy, I had a lunch. I'd coached a sailing team in Stamford, Connecticut, and he was the father of one of my students. And at the lunch, he had said he'd be helpful to me finding a job. And I said, what do you want to do? And I said, I'll do anything. And he said to me, there are no jobs for anything. Figure out what you want to do and let me know. And it resonated with me very poignantly because there are people, and I find myself on the opposite end of that now, where I get called, not all the time, enough. And people say, hey, can I sit down? Like I'm moving to DC, or my kid's moving to DC, and can you help them? And I was like, well, what can I do? What? And they go, I'll do anything. I'm like, look, I'm not your guidance counselor. I don't mean to be a jerk here, but like, I'm not here to make 15 phone calls for you. if you tell me that you've put an application in these 5 places because they have a job opening and you need help, I'm glad to make the phone call for you. I'm glad to call or follow up or whatever.
Right.
But I don't have 5 hours to go through a bunch of questions in Myers-Briggs with you and figure out what job is best for you. And I mean, that's not, go find somebody else on the internet to do that for you. And so it was really profound early on in my career to realize that, like, hey, look, you're going to get the opportunity to sit down with some important people. Use that time. It wasn't just about the job. It was use those opportunities in the right way. Right. So when you get the opportunity, maximize it. The second is a former Marine Corps commandant by the name of Charles Krulak. And he said, in the absence of leadership, take charge. And I think that that's extremely important, especially in politics, but frankly, anywhere else, is that there's too often where people sit around and say, they're floundering and, we're waiting. And it's like, you know what, at some point, the man with the plan gets 90%. And so in the absence of leadership, take charge. And I think that's missing in too many circumstances where no one wants to, everyone else wants to be guided or wait for something to happen. And like I said, I just have started to realize that, if you really want an outcome that benefits you, and I don't mean benefits you personally all the time, but sort of if you thought something through and you think that your plan is better than everybody else's, that your strategic direction is more appropriate, then come up with a plan and execute it and take charge, but don't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Great advice. I want to let you go. The book, I don't want to get yelled at by Katie. The book is The Parrots Go Bananas. The Parrots Go Bananas, bravebooks.com. You can catch Sean on Newsmax TV Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 with Lindsay Keith, who is amazing and so nice and even more beautiful in person. I don't know how she does that. Sean, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I hope you had fun. I hope it was, what you expected. It was everything I expected. So thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
Everything and more, Mary. Everything more.
I'll send you a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, careful. Those and tag-alongs, bad news. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Have a great night.
Yeah.
All right, so that was it. So I want to hear your comments. Drop your comments. Let me know what you thought of Sean. I'm just curious. I had a lot of fun. I had 2 lists. Those are all the questions I had to ask Sean. This was everything I had for him, but it was far too much. Hubby's playing with the lights, so it's like a disco in here right now. Every now and then he brings home another light to put in the studio, which was our living room. And it's now just, I don't know. We've got lights. Now they're pointing at the ceiling. I know she's trying to get rid of the shadow behind my head. It's okay if I have a shadow. It's all right. Everybody has my shadow. It's just me and my shadow. Let's see. Watching Your Back is someone new. Welcome to the show. Watching Your Back at the Pentagon on 9/11. Wow, that I can't even imagine what that was like. If you want to share it, leave it in the comments. I'll be happy to put it up on the screen. For people who are listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, I'll read your comments if they pertain to what we're talking about, but I try not to make it really chopped up for them. Al left Newsmax. What does that mean, left Newsmax? Sean's still at Newsmax. Speaking of Newsmax, Rob Carson from Newsmax. He's on Newsmax Radio. I get to fill in for him a lot. He has a show on Newsmax TV as well. He will be joining us on Thursday to do some political commentary with us. So he will be joining us on Thursday. And Rob is great. I really like Rob. I'm so blessed that these people have just been so wonderful and so nice to me. So he'll be coming on the show on Thursday. So I'm very excited about that. You and I went back and forth with an idiot on Twitter. Okay, well, you could be literally anyone, because do you have any idea how many idiots on Twitter you and I go back and forth with on Twitter? You could be, let's see, on Twitter, who could you be? Oh, I see. I know your avatars more than anything. Let's see. You're not MJ. No, you're not Captain Joe. Lord Bubba. You could be Lord Bubba. You could be, I don't think so, Ultra Companion, Goblin Josh, but I don't think that's you. There's a couple people you could be. Oh, you told me to ignore him. Oh, I know who you are. I know. Okay. All right. I remember the going back and forth. There was this guy who just, did you ever meet someone who just is tenacious with a point and they just keep going back to it and you explain to them like this guy's convinced that Donald Trump is a criminal, and for 2 days myself and another poster, Ultra Companion, who is amazing, I have been going back and forth with this guy going, no, he cheated on his taxes. I'm like, well, they got his taxes and they never charged him with cheating on his taxes. Well, the CEO of his company was found guilty. I'm like, that's because that was the CEO. Doesn't mean Donald Trump. And they just feel what is right, and because they feel it, then it must be so. So I know who this is, and this person just kept trying and trying. This poor guy, and I was just like, let it go, just let it go. He just cannot bring it around. He just is not capable of doing that. He can't handle that, And I don't know how many of you are on Twitter. It's amazing. Twitter to me, I was never on Twitter a lot. I was always a Facebook kind of girl. That was the first thing I was on. I was on Twitter for work. I got on Twitter really when I was on WMAL. I started getting on Twitter. I was had to be super, super careful what I posted, even though I did not have WNMAL anywhere in my profile. I still had to be super careful. And I just found that people, I've been on it more. Let's just say it that way. I've been on it more, and I think I enjoy the back and forth. I enjoy the interaction with people. So that part of it I really, really like. But I'll tell you, people are really nasty. I'm shocked at how nasty people are, that they just come at you and it's your first interaction with you. They disagree with something that you posted and they come at you and they call you names and they swear at you and they tell you to do vile things. And it's just like, why? I don't know why that is. Is it because you're anonymous? Most of these people don't have real pictures for their profile shots. They don't have real pictures. They hide behind that. They maybe it's the anonymity of it all, that in real life they don't act that way. But I think if that's bubbling below the surface, that's kind of who you are in real life. Like if you're a jerk on Twitter, you're a jerk in real life. I never throw the first punch. Like I never will swear at somebody. I don't call anybody an idiot. I don't call anybody stupid. I may say that your idea is moronic or your idea is dumb or the analogy is false or something along those lines, but I will never call the person a name. I can't even read what some people say to me on Twitter. I can't even read it. Now, poor Al, as we know, Ozark Rebel Al, has been kicked off Twitter permanently. I still to this day don't know what he did, but you can find him on Truth Social at Shaman Al, Shaman, Shaman Al. He is there. So if you want to leave your comments about what we talked about Sean with, please do. And very quickly, before Christine gets in here, I just wanted to share one thing with you. This is just one quick, kind of like a public service announcement. Yeah, kind of. Hang on 1 second. Here it is. Okay. So I kind of thought this was cool. So I wanted to share it, and Christine will be here shortly in just a couple minutes. They found 3 Tyrannosaurus Rex skeletons. They died about 65 million years ago, somewhere near where the border of now is with Wyoming and Montana. And I've been there. I love that area. But when I was a kid, I don't know about you, but I always thought that I was going to dig and I was going to find a dinosaur. Like I'm going to find the dinosaur bone. We found a bunch of Indian arrowheads. but never any dinosaur bones. When I was a kid, I was fascinated with dinosaurs. I think a lot of kids are. So I always had like that thing in the back of my brain that I'm gonna find a dinosaur bone and I'm gonna dig it up and I'm gonna have like, I'm gonna be famous. I kind of wanted to be an archaeologist for a really long time, but then I also realized that there's really no career path for that. It's a lot of school, and there's not a ton of career path for it, and you don't make a lot of money. So that whole archaeology thing, I actually get the magazine Archaeology Today because I'm that kind of a dork, but I have not, I did not go into it. Here's Christine. Hello, honey.
Hi, gorgeous. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am in my bathroom right now because for some bizarre reason, there is a chirping going on in my living room, and it would have, I think it might be a cricket. I'm really hoping it is, but if it's not, I don't really want to know. So I'm in my bathroom right now. How are you?
Okay. Well, listen, my radio studio is on the third floor of our house in what was the servant's bathroom. So I do any radio that I do literally with a sink right here, a toilet right next to me here, and a big clawfoot tub that I
I
have
love
boards
it.
across, and none of it works. We don't have the water hooked up to it because if we did, we would get taxed on it. But if we don't have the water hooked up, it doesn't work, so we don't get taxed on it because I'm in Jersey with crazy taxes. So it's not considered living space. So I have my studio literally between the tub, the toilet, and the sink. And this is where I sit. So
Speaking of water or wooder, WOODER,
Wooder,
at
yes.
least you're not in Philadelphia where they have no idea what the heck is going on with this thing. And our
Yeah.
mayor is like he's AWOL or not AWOL. He's yeah, I mean he's like missing in action. MIA.
AWOL.
AWOL.
Yeah.
AWOL, MIA, whatever. He's
So
crazy.
so you had like a chemical spill, so you can't drink the water. But then I read that you were drinking water out of the tap, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I do that. If they told me to not drink it yesterday, but I can drink it today, I'd be like, I'm gonna ride this out, this bottled water thing. Maybe a couple more weeks.
Can I be really honest? I was just being a provocateur because I don't drink water to begin with. I don't drink it from the tap. I don't drink it if it's bubbly. I do not drink water. So what happened was I just decided, because I just joined TikTok, I just decided to do this like little snarky little TikTok video with the Rocky theme in the background, taking half of I didn't even drink the water. I poured it in the glass. I sipped it. It tastes like Philadelphia water. Honestly, they keep saying over and over again, they keep pushing back the deadline for the poison onslaught. So honestly, I really don't see there being a huge problem. I think this was just a way for the city to sort of help the water distributors sell more water, because you had to see people. Did you see the videos of people standing in line in store? I mean, my God, they're lemmings. I mean, for Lord's sake, standing in line for 2 hours to get a bottle of water, get Mountain Dew.
Does it surprise you though? Look what people did with COVID. It was an upper respiratory disease and people hoarded toilet paper. It made no sense whatsoever. It was literally the wrong end of the body. It's the wrong end of the body.
I know, but I mean, it's the same thing when there's a blizzard and people go out for bread and milk. I mean, do they not eat anything else but bread and drink anything else but milk? It's just bizarre. I mean, those are staples for who? For Ozzie and Harriet, for 1950s families? Nobody. Now, bread and milk is not necessarily a staple. But
wait, you don't make French toast every time it snows? What's wrong with you?
No. No. I eat pastina. That's what I do.
And they don't make it anymore. They're not making the agina pep anymore.
It's true. It's true. So we have to do it with the Dellini, which is a little larger. It's the stuff that I used to make those, remember when you were in grade school, you're a little younger than I, actually, I think you're a lot younger than I am. But
no, we're actually the exact same age, but okay.
Are you really? You just look a lot younger.
No, that's not true.
Remember they used to have us make those macaroni necklaces? Like you would get the dried pasta and then you would paint it. Well, ditalini is actually the best pasta to use to make beads, because it's small enough to make nice little wampum kind of necklaces. Oh my God, did I just say something that's ethnically offensive?
Oh my God, we're gonna get canceled.
Exactly. I'm sorry. So sorry.
Cultural appropriation.
So sorry. And then you string it together because they've got the, you know, the wide little, the hole that you can use. So anyway, but ditalini I love. And you're right. The acina di pepe, they don't make anymore. The orzo, they make orzo, which is kind of like, it looks like little grains of
Yeah.
rice. That's pretty good too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that is. So we just watched Sean Spicer, and Scott over here says, I don't think I've ever heard him that long before. I don't think I've ever listened to him that long before, if at all. I don't know if that's good or not. And
He's
he said
great.
he
And you did a fantastic job. I
thank you.
think it just turned out so well because you're just a great interviewer. But I like Sean Spicer. I always like Sean Spicer.
He is such a nice man. When I was asking him about this at CPAC, because when he first started at Newsmax, I saw him at CPAC, and this had to be 2018.
Okay.
And he said to me, he said, "Hey," because I did Newsmax in 2014-15 in New York, and so he said, "Hey, you know, I'm practicing for my show. You want to come in and like be my either be a guest." And then be my guest host, you know, because I have to do some practice shows.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, what the heck? So I went in and, you know, sat in the studio with him as he worked through this, and he was learning how to read the teleprompter. We had a great time. So when I asked him about this, you know, he was like, "This sounds like fun." You know, like he definitely he was all in. So he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Scott wants to know, it's interesting to know if they come around and see if your water is hooked up for tax purposes. Oh, I guess that was for me. Yeah, if the water's not hooked up to that third floor bathroom, it's non-functioning. So it's not considered living space because there's no running water on that floor. So
So you
and
don't
there's
get
no
taxed on that.
right, there's no heat on that third floor. There was a potbelly stove, and I guess which was either the sitting room or the bedroom, whatever for the help, and that's been gone for a while.
Your
That was not
house
there.
sounds gorgeous. It sounds like my dream house. It
Oh my
sounds
God.
so beautiful.
It is one project. We have entire rooms, like the room I'm in right now, that we had to move everything. It's just piled with boxes. And as my parents and my husband's parents have downsized, everybody's like, "Well, you have a big house. You could take it." So I literally have piles of stuff that someday I'm going to go through them.
When we moved into the house that I grew up in 1969. We had boxes that were not opened my dad passed away in 1983, so that was 14 years later. We still had unopened boxes from the 1969 move when daddy passed away. We actually had them until I started law school, which was 1987, which is 18 years after we moved into the house. There were little things that, you know, we just squirreled them away, and then we never found them again. You know, it's like doing a time capsule in a way.
Yep. We just go from room to room, but the problem is it just takes years because we're doing all the work ourselves. So stripping all the paint off the wood, we're doing ourselves. All of that, and we don't have time. Like today, I was going to do stuff, but I did the pre-tape with Sean. I'm like, I got time after that before I do the podcast. And then it's like, "Hey, can you fill in for Stacey Washington tonight?" I'm like, 9 to midnight, sure. And then, "Hey, can you fill in for Todd Starnsmall?" I could do that. So like my day of like, "Oh, I'm going to strip wood. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." Boom. So
you are fabulous. We actually, and I know I speak for everyone when I say we love this show, but we want you on regularly on terrestrial radio too, because you are just amazing. And I'm not saying that because I love you and because it's the Nova thing or anything. You are someone, and actually, you know what? Somebody posted this, I think, underneath one of the Twitter comments about how you, and I'm not going to name names of other people, but you really are such a smart, savvy, fierce interviewer. You're a good person to begin with. You're authentic, and you don't toe any party line. You're not establishment. You're not radical renegade. You're just someone who is, you know, you call them as you see them, and that's so rare. That's so rare these days.
I could say all the same things about you, not to turn this into like a mutual admiration society, but I think that's one of the reasons you and I don't have full-time radio jobs is because we're not crazy enough for one side or the other. I had a New York literary agent contacted my agent. She saw me on Sean Hannity and said, "I want her to write a book." So I went in and I talked to this woman, which is an amazing opportunity, right? And I turned her down because she said to me, "Well, you have to turn up the crazy. You're not far right enough. You have to be more extreme." I'm like, that's not who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that just to get a literary contract and sell books. Now, maybe I'm foolish. I'm sure a lot of people would do that, but that's just, and you're the same way. And that's why you get so much, pushback when you write your columns. Your latest column was what? Was about, oh,
My
I
alma
forget what it was.
mater. My alma mater.
Yes,
Bryn Mawr
about Bryn
College.
Mawr. Yes, about Bryn Mawr. And
It's
you got a lot of
crazy.
pushback about that.
I did. I got a lot of pushback. Well, obviously from the Bryn Mawr, the administration there. Well, they ignore me. I got kicked off. I'm blocked from the alumni list. This is my 40th reunion this year, and I have no idea where it is, what's happening, what the calendar is. I actually have to beg some of my friends who are still in the good graces of the school to send me timelines and stuff, because otherwise I think it's like an armed guard at the campus. I'm not going to be able to show up. But the one I have to say, I mean, that column is fine. The one that I'm really proud of is, I don't know if you saw my little kerfuffle this weekend with Helen Gim is one of the mayoral candidates. And she had tweeted some stupid thing about a cheesesteak. She had a picture of this god awful cheesesteak. And she said, if we elect Jeff Brown, who's one of the other candidates, we will get cheesesteaks like this. Now, I mean, it was an innocuous thing. It was stupid, but I hated the fact that she's trying to pretend that she's Philadelphian, because she is not. She is from Seattle by way of Ohio, arrived in Philly to start graduate school, I think, at the University of Pennsylvania. She was 20 or 21. She's 55 now, so she has lived more than half of her life in Philadelphia, but her formative years were in Seattle and Ohio, probably near Oberlin, the crazy school. So I tweeted back at her. I said, "You're not one of us. You're not from here. You're an interloper. You're a carpetbagger. You don't like us. You mock us. Never Gim." Gim is her last name. So it was like hashtag never Gim. So the next thing I know, her campaign manager tweets out something along the lines of, "Oh, I wonder how many boxes of Franzia Christine drank before she fired off that tweet."
Oh, I saw that.
I wasn't offended that he was calling me a drunk, on her official campaign page. I was offended that he would suggest that I would ever drink wine out of a box. I drink Montepulciano d'Abruzzo, okay? I drink the real stuff from a bottle, okay? I do not drink boxed wine, but maybe sometimes, but not, not Franzia, not Franzia. So, but then this whole thing started where campaign staffers, people who are actually on her campaign, started calling me a racist, a xenophobe, anti-Asian, because Helen happens to be Korean American. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, how am I xenophobe? First of all, I'm an immigration lawyer, like asylum lawyer here. But secondly, how is telling someone that you're from Seattle ethnically offensive? And I, fired back a couple of tweets, and then people were saying, "You're racist, you're xenophobe, you're a bigot, you're a blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. So I wrote a column about it. And it's at a website called Broad and Liberty. If anybody's interested in checking it out, Broad and Liberty, it's all one word. And I'm basically saying, listen, I was born in Baltimore. So I also am not from here, if you want to be technical about Philadelphia. But of the 735 months that I've been on this earth, I spent 734 of them in Philadelphia and 1 month in Baltimore, as opposed to Helen, who spent 21 years in Seattle. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. And it's an example of what the Democrats do and leftists do. They use the race card. They use the homophobe card. They use the, And what about the tragedy right now in Nashville? Now, all of a sudden, it's not, we're gonna make the victimizer, the killer, the assassin of those 3 9-year-old babies and 3 61-year-old, employees at the school. We're gonna make that person a victim because mommy and daddy didn't understand him, her, whatever. Oh, and yes, the Christian church, the Christian faith is at fault because it doesn't accept trans people. And I mean, where is the outcry about anti-Christian hatred? But no, let's play the trans card for Lord's sake.
So Scott here says Christine may be expecting smart where there is none of the person she's talking to.
Yeah, that's actually true, Scott. That's very true. I have high expectations, and they're always dashed when I'm talking
Dash,
to Elizabeth.
exactly. That's why I'm a pessimist. Bill says Christine looks stunning. Jerry
thank you.
said. Jerry says, I think people hoarded TP due to a primal sense of survival set off when an immense amount of crap was presented to us. People responded by gathering toilet paper around themselves in order to feel safe. All right. So very quickly, I just want to do a quick Real Housewives of New Jersey wrap up because I have got to go because I have to start another show in 45 minutes. So I got to run.
How can we access that show? Is it
Oh,
online? Can we get
it's
it online?
you cannot get it online. Sirius Patriot Channel 125. You have to be a Sirius Patriot subscriber, and then you can get it online on your phone. You have the app or in your automobile, so you can have it on your phone and listen. But if you don't have that, then you cannot listen. I'm sorry.
I'm signing up just for you. Like, let me know when you're subbing. So.
Oh well, I a lot of times it's last minute. You're sweet. So my hubby texted me. A friend of mine from Villanova works for one of the water companies that covers Philadelphia. He's like, hey. It's like, oh, I forgot about that. Maybe I should give him a ring. Okay. B for Villanova. Okay. So the Real Housewives of New Jersey got better this week. And I know for those of you who don't like it, you're probably punching out. Scott's out. I had a fun evening here this evening. Thank you very much, Scott.
For Lord's sake. Hang on.
People. Okay. So Teresa is upset that Marge and Joe were staying at Melissa and Joe's shore house, right? Because Melissa's Joe's her brother. But honestly, would you have her stay with you? That's just a huge fight waiting to happen. I think Joe and Melissa did the right thing by not having her and Louis stay with them, right?
Oh my God, absolutely. And I mean, we know where the season is going to end. I mean, we're not there yet, but page 6, in the New York Post constantly has these little tidbits about who insulted whom and whose child is not allowed to speak to who.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I wake up every morning and I get my page 6 updates, and there's always a Melissa or a Teresa or a Louis or whatever. No, I agree with you entirely. I'm so over Teresa. I looked at the old episodes, the early episodes.
Yep.
And she was what's the word?
Annoying.
Comic relief. She was funny.
Yeah.
Now she's just a toxic mess. And I'm not saying that I adore Melissa because she has some issues too. But it's just, Teresa is just a hot mess. And her kids are going that way too, unfortunately. Especially Gia. What happened to Gia? What is that? She looks like a Barbie doll. I mean, she's so plastic. She's not Gia anymore.
See, I have to tell you, I know you said that. So last time I saw her, she's only on for a hot second. But I was looking at her, I'm like, I don't think she's had plastic surgery. Like I'm looking now since you mentioned it. I don't know if she has. I mean, Teresa had the wacky eye. She fixed all that up, and did you know, I watched What Happens Live, See What Happens Live that's on afterwards.
Yeah.
And Jen Fessler was on, and she was the one who just like, she lost all the weight and she just eats, like she doesn't care. She's the most real out of all of them. I love her. Facelift, nose job.
Yeah. And actually, I think they had an article where they took each of the housewives and said, what have you had done? Dolores has had the most done. But you know what? She's owned up to it, and she's out there and she said, I had a body lift. I mean, literally, her entire body has been lifted up.
She looks great.
Another level. She looks fabulous. And I love the fact that she's got that body, that face, and the Jersey girl comes out of the mouth. And she's not like, she doesn't, like the one that you said last week, the one who's actually Staten Island, but
that's Jen.
Girl.
Jen, what's her? Oh, no, that's Danielle. Danielle, I don't like her.
Danielle. I mean, she's so not Jersey. I don't know why they plopped her in the middle. It's like having it's like a New York apple plopped into a basket of Jersey tomatoes. She sticks out. But But no, I absolutely, I love Dolores and I love Margaret. We talked about this.
Yes, I love Margaret. Yes.
Done, But if you're honest about it and you don't pretend that it didn't happen, then we forgive you. We're fine with it.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I just don't understand why everyone who comes onto that show has to have a nose job. Dear Lord, why can't you just live with your real nose?
I know.
I was listen, if I could afford it, I'd have this baby done. And, it's a little wide.
Oh,
But
shut up
I
your face. Shut up
but
your face. You've got
I
a
would do
great
this,
nose.
but here's the thing. I'm too scared. I'm too afraid. No, thank you. I can't do it. Anyway, so Melissa had this big luau, she had this big party at down the shore. They're all in like Tom's River, Lavalette, that area. You can tell from where they are. They're
And
all
I
down
love
in
they
Ocean
say down the
County,
shore. They don't say at the beach. It's down the shore.
down the shore.
Or
Exactly.
down the shore, which is one word.
And when they even say it says Jersey Shore, like where are they? They're at the Jersey Shore. That's where they
Right.
are.
Right.
I and Jen A was saying they're always team Marge because she's such a threat they want to keep her close. But Jackie, did you see Jackie Goldschneider had the best line of the whole thing? Danielle, the it's Staten Island one, she goes, Danielle is a clearance aisle Snooki.
Oh my God, I remember that. That's so perfect.
I had her written it down. I'm like, that's the best line. That's fantastic.
It is, and I mean, we all remember Snooki,
Oh.
I mean, Snooki, the OG. But it's true. Although you said it last week, I think, or the week before, that the Jersey Shore people were not Jersey people. They're from New York people who went down the shore. So I do for all of their flaws. Teresa and oh gosh, who was the other one? Oh God, the one who's no longer on the show and she moved out to Vegas. She was as Jersey as you could be without being born in Jersey. What's her name?
Danielle Staub.
No, oh God, Danielle, remember her? Oh, she was the one that had the table thrown at her and the prostitute whore, whatever you. I love that.
Yes, prostitution whore.
Yeah, that was really good. Now the one who was best friend, she had the little boy who was autistic, Nicholas.
Oh, Jackie.
Was Jacqueline. Jacqueline.
Jacqueline. Yeah.
She was very Jersey without being from Jersey. I mean, she was, I think, a Las Vegas girl.
Right.
Nevada.
Yeah.
But she fit in really well. But there are just, you can always tell when they're trying to, speaking of Snooki, when they're trying to snooker you into it. Yeah. I would never fit in as a Jersey girl. And I love Jersey. And I've lived next to Jersey all my life. But you look at me and you say, no, she's a shoebie. She comes in, she's she goes down the shore during the summers, but she's not a Jersey girl. She's Jersey adjacent. I'm Jersey adjacent.
There you go. And that's close enough for me, honey. I love you anyway. And Teresa had a moment where she was a master manipulator. Rachel, the girl who has the bad nose job, she's the one who says in the bad nose job. It does. It's like really super skinny. And she even admits it's a bad job. That's another reason I would never do it, I'm afraid. But she says, I'm honest. And I just tell people that you told me, she said to Teresa, goes, yeah, you told me to watch my back with Margaret because you'd rather have Margaret as a friend than an enemy. You told me that. I'm not going to lie. And Teresa says to her, turns it around on her and accuses her of trying to cause problems between Teresa and Margaret. Like Teresa's a dummy, but that was a stroke of genius.
It really was.
Stroke of genius.
Teresa needs anybody to help her have problems with anybody. Teresa is a master at being able to create problems out of thin air. I mean, literally, she is able to do that. I don't know. I mean, Teresa is, again, she is the queen bee of this because she's the oldest one. She's been around forever. I never pegged her in the early episodes as being the standout. I really didn't think she was going to be the one that outlasted everybody else.
Right.
But slow and steady wins the race. I loved Carolyn. Do you remember Carolyn?
I did. I knew she was too smart. She was too sensible. She wasn't going to make it on the show. I get it. That's why.
There wasn't that much drama with her.
Right. But Teresa did go to jail. When she went to jail, you knew she was in forever. She was in. The other thing is that Jen Fessler is also taking Ozempic to lose weight. We also found that out as well.
Oh my God, that's right. Are you allowed to do that? I mean, what about the poor people who have diabetes who need this drug? Who can't?
I don't think there's a shortage. So.
But can you is it like Botox when it was originally a migraine medicine and then off-label they found out that it froze your face?
Right, like off-label use. I don't know. I don't know if it's
use.
It may, yeah, meaning that's not what it was originally like. What Viagra was originally for Raynaud's, for the treatment of Raynaud's, right? And then
Really? I did not
yeah,
know
and they
that.
found out that there was a little bit of a side effect. So,
Wow. Okay.
so then they said, oh, well, so it's not what it was originally intended for. It was originally an off-label use until it is then, I guess, officially, they do studies and they're like, yeah, you can officially use it for this.
What I was going to say
don't
was,
know.
I mean, I guess you can't really control people using it after it's been prescribed, but I mean, aren't doctors required to only prescribe it for the specific use that's been okayed by the FDA?
The doctor I live with says they gave it another name and got FDA approval for weight loss.
Wow. So it's not Ozempic anymore.
Well, not for that. It's different. It's a different name. For Ozempic, Ozempic is prescribed for diabetes, but for weight loss, they give it a different name. Wow. And they prescribe it for weight loss. I would assume that the prescription guidelines are probably
that's clever.
Yes.
That's
all right, I gotta rock and roll because I have got to connect with Sirius in 5 minutes. So right, I have got to go. But thank you so much. I love you. And to everybody, Thursday. So tonight I will be on Sirius XM Patriot Channel 125 from 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Tomorrow I will be in for Todd Starnes on the Todd Starnes Radio Network from noon to 3 p.m. You can search for KWAM, KWAM on TuneIn, or you could look for it online, listen there, or it could be near you on a station near you if you're mostly in the South, from like Memphis South. And then Thursday on Mary Walter Radio, the podcast, Rob Carson from Newsmax Radio and Newsmax TV will be joining us. So very packed. Not as much fun as you, though, my friend.
People, congratulations on, I'm going to listen to the Todd Starnes thing tomorrow because I know I can access that one. I don't have the
Thank you.
And we all love you, Mary. We all love Mary.
Love you. Bye, honey.
Bye,
see ya.
Have a good night. Ciao, guys.
You got 1,000 people dancing and you still don't mind. All plugged in and